Welcome back to sorry about that. Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review. This is episode number 50. Yep, 50 episodes reviewing this series. Reviewing the 50th episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. The Chunin Selection Meeting. It's seriously the name of this is probably by far word title wise, this is probably the longest title for the entire series because usually these titles tend to be about 2 or 3 words, maybe, but this is 4 words, which makes it the longest title, definitely the whole entire series. Mostly put, this episode is a clip show. A good, 20-30% of this episode is mostly clip. It's basically a clip show. Referencing stuff happened in the pilot, with Boruto hitting the what a train into the Hokage Mount. There's a few instances up with the goats incident, like destroying the school. The battle news battle with the village. Let's see, was there anything else? No, nothing I can think of when it comes to Ghost Arc. There was a reference to stuff with DK and Wambi, stuff of how DK basically is the reason why they pretty much he's the reason why Wambi graduated. They also briefly referenced it's like they did offhand reference to the field trip thing. It's like their only flashback they gave to that one was a brief battle. It was briefly showing for like maybe 10 seconds of battle between Baruto and Kasumi's son. Yep. Yeah, a battle that in the actual episode itself lasted for about most of the episode. Here they show for a quick little tease. And let's see, what else? Yeah, they frequently show like a lot of flashbacks, like clips from various episodes from the previous episodes of the whole entire series. The only team that does not get, let's say, flashback stuff is, well, Susumri's team. Yeah, her team, Team 15, does not get a reference at all. I mean, yeah, there's something really weird. Now, Susumri is referenced several times this whole episode, along with all the rest of the characters, but as for her friends, nope. But who's bringing all this stuff up? Basically, it's Konohamaru, Mogi, Udon, and Shino. Simply put, this is actually very similar to what happened in the original Chunin exams during the original Naruto series, where you had Kakashi, Ashima, and Koronai basically discussing stuff similarly what they did, of course, with Aruka. Though this time it's Shino, which he has gone through the tuning exams himself, and he's in full agreement with them. And he, even though technically they're no longer his students, but they are from his class, and he does keep up. From what I can tell, from when it comes to this episode, it seems like the way that Shino was written this episode, he's pretty much kept up to date with pretty much everything that's happened to his students after they graduated, which, hey, that's not a bad idea to do, especially since, like, oh, 9 of them basically get stuff to do. Though Susumri's team, up until the last episode, gave nothing to do. Speaking of Susumri's team, there's one thing I forgot to mention in the last episode, is that there was briefly a flashback that picked up right where they were last seen back in episode 38, where they met up with Hanabi. And Hanabi does show up in the episode. She doesn't show up until like a little over halfway in. That's not of the stuff that's not stock footage. She shows up about halfway through, and now simply put, first we're seeing like talking, and they go to like what looks like a bar, and they all start drinking except for Shino. And I will get to the reasoning behind why he doesn't drink. And pretty much everybody's drunk. Konohamaru's drunk, Udon and Mogi. Mogi is not as drunk as Konohamaru. Konohamaru and Udon are the most drunk. And what are they drinking? Sake. It's Japan, so that's the most popular alcohol there is, sake, from, well, when it comes to pasta, because Kishimoto, he must have really liked sake because that seems to be the most pop. That seems like the only alcohol any of the adults actually drink the entire series. This is they also do this in One Piece as well, where the only major alcohol they drink is sake. So there's nothing true there. And it's nice to see Hanabi in the episode, especially since that she just showed up in the last episode, which makes this overall, out of the entire series, she's only appeared in physically in 5 episodes. She appeared in 2 episodes of the Ghost arc, 1 episode of the Byakugan arc, and these last 2 episodes. Though, unlike last episode, where she has a small role, here she just here just be just to go out drinking with Konohamaru. Now, I do have a question though. When in the world did she even meet Konohamaru? Because prior to this episode, these two never shared a scene together, and I've seen pretty much like every single episode of both Naruto Shippuden and Naruto. Yeah, as far as I can tell, these two never share a scene together at all, which is odd. Now, I get maybe having. This is also, I should point out though, the first time the Team Konohamaru, well, the original Team Konohamaru, not the current one, which is Konohamaru, Boruto, Mitsuke, and Sadara. I'm talking about the original one that Ibu basically led with Konohamaru, Moki, and Udon. This is probably the first time in the entire series all 3 characters have actually been in an episode together and sharing the scene together. In present day, though, they did do a flashback about a couple episodes back where they did share it. And also Mogi, when she was younger, she had this thing where she had like these little red marks on her cheeks, basically to show how cute she is. And then apparently when she got older, she decided all of a sudden I think the animators decided to have her stop having that. Excuse me. Though she does keep the ponytail thing, which I appreciate her for doing that. And she does some things that she also wears her headband pretty much exactly the same way that Hinata wore hers as necklace. Konohamaru wears his on his forehead. Udon does the same thing. Shino, from what I can tell, yeah, he did. Though, oh, I almost forgot. When it comes to Shino, the reason why he doesn't drink is because his ancestors go crazy whenever he drinks. Also, the reason why they get this meeting is because the episode started out with Konohamaru going to Naruto's office to give the report about the most recent mission. Apparently, Naruto's out of town, meeting up with the Daimyo, with the feudal lord. Okay, fine. Now, this is perfectly fine. You don't have to have Naruto, as long as Naruto does show up of course he does show up at the end. And Shikamaru does tell Konohamaru that the Chunin exams are coming up and there's going to be an announcement about it and the applications will be printed soon. He'll be contacted. Fine. Whatever. At least Shikamaru's doing his job. God praise him for that. And of course he's referenced once in this episode when it comes to son Shikadai. And of course when Naruto does show up in the episode, he gets a phone call probably from the bar. He says, Shino, lost control of his insects. I'm on my way. I mean, who better? Now, my personal theory is the reason why that the bar owner called Naruto is because Shino is no friend of his, and he probably knows that Shino has probably done this in the past. So this is probably not the first time this has happened, and Naruto's probably the only person who can calm him down. Though this is only the second time in the whole entire series where Shino has gone nuts with his insects. The last time was during the Ghost arc, which at this point, at the last episode he did this in, was 44 episodes prior to this episode. He lasted, and how he got drunk is a bit bizarre. Hanabi, who got drunk herself, of course, she was talking about, well, they might talk about Boruto. I'm a little surprised she didn't get a chance to talk about her team. And I think that was probably a missed opportunity for this episode, is the fact that you could have had it where Hanabi was giving a progress report. Now, Sai has referenced the episode. He does not make a physical appearance. excuse me, he doesn't even make appearance in the flashback for the episode, which is a bit bizarre. And I would have liked it if somehow that she would met with him a little earlier than expected and talk about her team and what they've been doing since the team formed. I don't know. I think the reason why that this is just a theory. The reason why they probably couldn't have her do much of anything in this episode, aside from getting drunk with Konohamaru and getting Shino drunk, have a brief conversation about Boruto, is probably because that they probably didn't have much time to do much of anything. Because now the reason why for the stock footage, this is just my theory, is that the series is probably running low on money and they need to save money. So uh, like create very much not much original footage and using a bunch of stock footage. This episode is roughly 23 minutes long. I would say a good 10 minutes of this episode is nothing but stock footage if you don't count the opening credits and the closing credits. Roughly this episode is 20 minutes long. About half the episode is basically stock footage. It's not terrible stock footage. It's very, I would say, very brief. Now, I get the reason why 50th episode did this because just see how far we come. Fine, whatever. And I would have liked it aside from the main six that you could have a chance to hear. Now, aside from the main six and Jisumari, I would have liked it if we get a chance to hear about more of the other original characters for this series, like what their progress is. I mean, Metal League gets a brief reference. Also, when they show stuff for Sadara, they show. Oh yeah, they also have Mary pop up in the flashback, which only her second appearance in the entire series. Yeah. Also, apparently, I did not know this until I looked it up. The older woman who Shannon was talking to back in episode 5, that was Korona Yorji, his sensei from the original series. And I didn't notice that was really her because I didn't recognize her at all because it had been some time. I didn't realize how she'd aged that much. Also, from what I could tell, she'd put on weight like Anko and Mate and the fifth Tazakagi did. Fifth Mazakagi, excuse me. Also, for that flashback, when they mentioned the hidden leaf, the hidden mist village flashback, they didn't mention the fact that. I mean, they bring up that Boruto was involved with saving that village, fine, but they neglected to mention Sadara and Iwambi getting involved in that too. So I'm kind of like, why in the world couldn't they just bring that up? The episode's nice for what it was. As far as I can tell for clip episodes from Naruto Shippuden, in the case of Naruto, there was none that I can think of. No, there wasn't. In the case of Naruto Shippuden, as far as I can tell, no. Whenever they did flashbacks, it was original footage. This one they used stock footage. Very little of it. It's kind of like saying this was a money saving episode that they were just saving up for stuff for later. Stuff like that. But oh, so this was a okay episode. I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't, let's say, guilty. Now, last week's episode was a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. I did enjoy it. I just kind of wish that we got a little more development on Susumari's team, since it was, in fact, the first episode of the entire series that focused on her team. Maybe in the future, after they do stuff with the Boruto manga, here's my personal thing I want to see for the series. I mean, we are 50 episodes in. I would like to see these getting teams working together, like they did Naruto Shippuden, like having like Team 7 work with, let's say, Team 15 for an episode, or Team 7 work with Team 10, or Team 7 working with, let's say, Team 40, one of their teams. I would like to see them work together, excuse me, Aside from seeing these teams all together for like one brief cameo, also I would have loved to see an episode focused on Team Mogi, like of course that we did with um, Hinabe's team and of course Udon's team. We got episodes focused on them, but no episode focused on Team Mogi. We saw him briefly, like one mission, where they're escorting a very wealthy elderly woman around the village doing a shopping spree. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree. Seriously, that's the first mission? Being a bodyguard while a woman goes on a shopping spree. I mean, it would be interesting for them to show off something, but no. Also, I forgot to mention this episode, Hinabi does use a Byakugan while she's drunk. As far as I know, this is the first time I've seen her or any other character go drinking. I kind of the only other time I could think of would have been an episode like this where you have just a few friends sitting around like a table or a bar, just having some drinks, have a good night out together. Naruto Shippuden did do this one episode. This was an episode that kind of came out, took place before Naruto went out, before he went to that Turtle Island, where it was it's one of my personal favorite episodes of that series, the Girls' Night Out episode, where you have almost all the girls from the series. You have Tenten, Hinata, Sakura, and Ino, along with Sanadi and Suzune, going out having a party, and all the guys doing pretty much the same thing. This episode was simply just the three getting team leaders and the sensei for their students. It would have been interesting to show off other senseis, but they probably just didn't have time to. But as for next week's episode, it's just Boruto's birthday. And it looks like that Sadara and Mitsuki and Konohamaru are coming to the birthday party. It probably be interesting though if the rest of the cast could come to Boruto's birthday. As far as I know, this is the first time I could think of in an anime where they actually celebrated a character's birthday. Because in the previous series, as far as I know, both in Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, none of the characters celebrated their birthdays at all, which is odd. I would have thought they would have done it for one of them, but as far as I know, this is probably the first. Now, in the Boruto film, they were celebrating Hanabi's birthday, like Himari's birthday. Mm-hmm. Boruto's little sister celebrating her birthday. In the case of the rest of the cast from the previous generation, no, none of them ever did, which is odd. The fact that they never did that. Of course, I do mention also in the tease next, he says he better not miss Hiwame's birthday, otherwise he'll be really mad, which kind of leads into the Boruto anime film stuff, which from what I've heard is going to be based upon Kishimo's original script for the film, which is interesting. I like that, which means we might get a chance to see stuff that was not in the original film. As long as, well, there's probably going to be some changes, which my guess, now some people kind of predicted this would happen when it comes to readapting an actual film. Super did for the first two major arcs of the series when they readapted both Battle of Gods and Resurrection F. The Boruto film is not a big surprise to a lot of people. As for how long it's going to last for, I have no idea. In the manga, this was a good like 12 chapters before they finally moved forward. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as I know, the newest chapter for the Boruto manga has not been released yet. Yeah, Boruto chapter 22 has not been released yet. As when I get a chance, I'm going to review the newest chapter for Tokugo Re. Probably not until Friday at this point. Yeah, probably not until Friday because I still got some comics to do. It could be Friday or Saturday at this point. Or it could be Sunday. Who knows? Okay? So, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for, well, a video tomorrow because it's getting kind of late right now. I am planning to do a Comic Corner tomorrow, but at this rate, I'm probably going to do 2 Comic Corner episodes tomorrow. But you'll find out what those books are on in that video, okay? Until I see you in the next video. Bye.